Welcome to the Comstock channel. My name is Brian Hendrickson. I have Joe Camp with us today. Welcome.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon.
Thanks for being on. Grains were kind of weak overnight this morning as well. And before we hopped on, I kind of looked and they were still not doing so well. But the soybeans seem to be taking the worst of it.
No, it's not pretty. I should put a sheet over the screen here. It's a sea of red today, and it is, like you mentioned, led lower by the soybeans. I think that's really what's going on is soybeans, more than corn and wheat right now, have these really key chart lows being tested, and that's primarily $13 even for November soybeans. We're below that mark by a little bit. We've been trading both sides here of it this morning. It could be that we have to probe a little lower yet. There is an August low around 1282. But we look at this chart and you see the fact that we're down here near the bottom end of the range. We look at these Bollinger Bands that measure a couple of standard deviations away from that 20-day moving average. We see we're close to the 100-day moving average, so some potential support if we could close back above that line here, either today or the next couple of sessions. That will be key. It's not ever going to be exact when you have so many different sides of it trading, but it's definitely a technical type of trade we've got going on here today, and one that's bearish at that. Certainly the path of least resistance has been lower, and I think that's in part because the big speculators are still short these markets. Now, increasingly so on soybeans. We should say they're net short on corn and wheat, but they've been exiting longs in a big way and adding to short positions on soybeans here lately. We look at this trader positions graphic that I put together, and it's remarkable how bullish we've been on soybeans from the hedge fund standpoint. Yet we're at risk of maybe losing that. This later in the week, our update on commitment of traders positions will be important. It could potentially show that we've gotten awfully close to being net short soybeans for the managed money crowd. And that would be the first time we've been that way, net short in soybeans for almost 3 years. So it's quite a shift. I think it's something that we can see subside here in terms of the sell-off pressure. But for now, an ugly session here on this Thursday.
Farmers aren't really selling at this point due to it being harvest. Is that also some of this as well, or?
It's hopefully a bit of savior, for this market that could step in and because we know the speculators are selling, but the farmers aren't because they're busy with this beginning of harvest and because they don't like the prices down here. They're going to put this crop away and lock it up. And if there's anything that could be a source of support here as we move forward into this harvest, it's that the farmers are going to be reluctant sellers and that they are going to need those buyers to push basis here. And I think that can happen earlier than normal, in part because we're going to have a quicker than normal harvest by all accounts. We'll talk about the weather outlook here, but for now, that's what we're looking towards, is that the sell side pressure is coming from the speculators, but with the farmers an unwilling seller, maybe we're close to harvest lows.
We asked readers of the Comstock Report, and now we're asking our viewers here to send in their yields and results they're starting to see. You can send them in at report@comstock.com. Let's hop on kind of at the bottom. You mentioned the weather. Some people are getting some rain, not a lot. Some places are still not doing well. What all are you seeing? And of course, we're going to talk about the Mississippi River levels.
Yeah, showers moving through some parts of the country here today. It's too little too late, of course, in terms of saving these row crops, but it is helpful. Talked to a farmer here that was happy to have a little moisture as he's trying to seed some rye. We've got these winter crops that would benefit from some moisture. And then on into that conversation about Mississippi River levels, we look at how our river basins are in such severe drought, and it continues to be a sore spot for the market. We look at higher barge freight rates getting in the way of export potential here early in the fall harvest. And then overall, just, the fact that we could extend dryness into this next season. We've got back and forth about what to expect in El Nino, but it's seemingly more of the same, that even after what could be, we look at the GFS model. I pointed out in a snapshot what it has going for us potentially on Sunday. That's our next shot for some more material showers to come across at least the western Corn Belt. Beyond that, though, the outlook clears up again, and I think we're going to be full go in terms of harvest. So some small disruptions. We'll take that moisture as it comes here in the early going, and no real concern right now of harvest delays.
Closing up today, let's talk livestock.
Well, let's start on a negative note then and end on a negative note, because the livestock are lower today too. But, the flip side of it is that we're coming down off of new contract highs, off of record highs for the cattle market. It's been a bullish fundamental picture, no way around it. But you have the opposite of what we might potentially expect to come for the grains, where the bearish hedge funds could be covering shorts and help the market rebound here sooner rather than later. On the cattle end of it, it's about taking profits on longs. They've been pretty bullish. They're wanting to step out of the market. And there is, as we should wrap it up, some negativity noted here all of a sudden about the state of the economy. That follows the Federal Reserve meeting here this week, and some concerns expressed about how we've still got high inflation, but now lagging numbers in terms of overall economic performance. And we know that is going to get into the meats, and it has on a day like this. So we've got a negative tone here for prices, but I think still some hope ahead that we'd be finding lows soon and actually have the broader commodity space start to track higher here as we move further into the fall.
All right, that'll do it for this episode. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
For premium content, you can head over to the Comstock Report, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.